Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a high school advice video. I don't think I've actually done one for high school, or maybe I have once like after my freshman year, but I haven't done one in a while, and now that I'm a junior in high school, I feel like it's a good time to do a little updated advice video, especially because as I've been putting out my back to school content, a lot of you have been wanting an advice video specifically for like incoming freshmen, but just like overall as well. So that is exactly what today's video is. I do want to thank Notion for sponsoring today's video, but you guys will hear a little bit more about them later. So without further ado, let's just get started with the questions. Okay, so on my Instagram story, I asked you guys if you had any questions for a high school advice video, and I took those questions and organized them into different categories. That's how I split up the video, so if you want to skip to like a different section, the timestamps are listed in the description, or you can just run your cursor along the timeline of the video and it'll show you all of the different sections. The first category is my studying / productivity / time management section, and this was the category that I had the most questions for, so that's why we're starting with it. And the first question I have is kind of like two parts. It's tips for being productive and tips for time management. I feel like both kind of go hand in hand. I feel like having good time management helps you be more productive, so I'll start with that. Everyone works differently, but for me, being able to manage my time is very important, and the way that I do it is I just have some kind of system that I make sure I use constantly to keep track of everything that I have to do and hold me accountable for everything. Sometimes that means making a to-do list on a piece of paper or on my iPad, or writing reminders on your notes app or the actual reminders app on your phone, setting alarms to do things, or organizing like a whole table of everything you need to do with like due dates and all that on your computer with Google Sheets or with Notion. All of those ways for me have worked to being able to manage my time effectively and also just sticking to it. And I know sometimes we don't feel like doing things even though we know we have to do them. So for me personally, I like to plan what I need to do ahead of time, and so I don't feel like I'm stressed and like forcing myself to do something that I wasn't planning on doing that day, if that makes any sense. And then for productivity, it's kind of like the same thing. Just have a system where you can kind of keep track of the things you need to do. Like I said, this can differ for every single person, so whatever works for you is great. Also, try to keep any distractions away from you, and everyone gets distracted by different things. So if you work better when you're around people, obviously working like Starbucks or like other cafes and stuff is a great environment for you, but if people distract you, then try to be in a place where you're not gonna be around other people, such as your room. I feel like all of us can get distracted from our phones, so try to keep it on do not disturb or just put it somewhere else so that you don't get distracted by notifications that pop up. My second question is how to be and stay organized. I know this is something that I definitely struggle with, especially when the school year starts to get really stressful and busy and it feels like you need to do a million things at once, so it's really hard to keep your life, your school, everything organized. So to first talk about how to be organized, similar to what I talked about with time management, find a way to organize yourself that works for you and that you can stick with, whether that be have like a certain book that you write your to-do list in, or a calendar, an app, and also just having a specific place in your room or in your desk or anywhere else to keep all of your school stuff, having separate folders or binders or notebooks for all of your classes to make sure your papers don't get jumbled up into each other, and also keeping your electronics organized. So like if you have a laptop, just making sure the desktop isn't cluttered with a bunch of PDFs and stuff, like organize it into folders. Organization along with time management and productivity is kind of hard to give specific advice on because it really does depend on who you are like as a person and how you work, because the way I organize myself and the way I stay productive and manage my time is definitely different from everyone else's. So the things that I'm saying are things that have worked for me, but also are more like general. But for me personally, the one thing that keeps me organized all the time, whether it's for school, for my YouTube, or for anything else, is Notion. And so I do want to say thank you to Notion for sponsoring today's video. Notion is super customizable. You can put anything and everything in your Notion to keep everything organized in one place and easily accessible for whenever you need it. Notion also has something called Workspace or like Team Space. It's basically a way to communicate and keep things organized with other people. Overall, Notion helps you stay organized, achieve your goals, and feel more confident to take on the semester and the school year. Notion is 100% free for students and educators. You just have to sign up with your school email address and you'll get instant access to all Plus account features. I use Notion to organize every single part of my life, but I want to show you guys how I specifically use it to organize my school stuff. I have this Spotify playlist embedded here to play a homework playlist. Here I have a to-do list. This was from last year when I was prepping for my AP test. My Canvas is linked here so I can access all my courses. And then I just have some like inspirational school and like study images. And then right below those pictures, I have this little section which are my long-term assignment section. I don't really have a lot of long-term assignments now because the school year just started. And I did want to mention that I am in yearbook this year. So for that class, I actually made a shared team space. So all of the people that hold a leadership role in the class will add their contact information here. And then below that, I have my weekly schedule and calendar. In the weekly schedule, I have all of the events for each week, and those events are connected to the one that are in my calendar page as well. And then in this resource section, I just have 3 links that are very helpful for all of us. So those are just the ways that I use Notion for school. I use Notion to organize YouTube as well, which I'll show in a different video just because this is more focused on school. By the way, Notion is a website and an app, so you can access it on literally anything. So if you're interested in checking out Notion, go visit the link that I have in my description. I have also linked my custom Notion template down there. So if you guys want to use my template for my Notion as like a guide for your guys' Notion, feel free to use that link to get started with your own Notion. Thank you again to Notion for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get back to the tips. The next question that I have is tips for note-taking. Note-taking can look different for every single person, and I feel like finding what works best for you is like the best thing you can do for yourself. But from my past few years in high school taking both honors and AP classes, I'll give you guys a few of my personal note-taking tips that have helped me. So first off, I prefer taking notes in notebooks. I feel like I just learn better with actual like pen and paper rather than typing them. Obviously, if typing your notes or digitally taking your notes works for you, definitely go do that. This is my A-Push notebook this year, and we've done a decent amount of notes, so I'll just use them as an example. This, I would say, is what my average set of notes look like, at least for like a history class. My math notes are very messy. They're just in pencil and they're not super organized, but like that's for math, so we're gonna stick with these. When I take notes, I try to take the least amount possible while still being able to grasp the information. Basically, when I take notes, I like to make sure I add all of the headings of each section. This helps keeps the notes organized, and also when you go back to reference your notes, it's just easier to find the information you need. This next question was one of my most highly asked questions, and it is how to manage/balance everything in life, including your social life, self-care, school, extracurriculars such as like work and sports, and just everything. And this is something that has definitely been one of my biggest struggles in high school, in addition to taking harder classes such as APs and honors. Managing all the aspects of your life can definitely be very difficult, and it's a struggle for almost everyone, so do not feel alone. But some things that have helped me manage everything are to set your priorities. So if there ever comes a time when you have to kind of choose what you want to do, like if there ever comes a time where you're debating on what to do, figure out what your priorities are, or if there's some things you can push to do later, or just anything like that, like figure out what you really need to do in the moment first, and just do what your first priorities are. And this includes taking naps if needed. I know sometimes when I come home from school, I need to do my homework, but then I am actually so tired that doing the homework isn't really gonna do much for me because I'm so tired, I'm like checked out. So in that case, my priority would be just to take a nap, whether that be 20 minutes or an hour or 2 hours. I know taking a nap before doing my homework will benefit me more in the long run. So that's just kind of how I figure that stuff out. And that includes hanging out with friends as well. And then the last question of this category is how to deal with stress/burnout/mental health. Last year was the first year that I really experienced like the worst of my mental health that I've ever had, and I know everybody struggles with it. So the first thing that I want to say is that if you ever struggle with mental health or stress or burnout or whatever it is, know that you're not alone. I know it may feel like it may seem like it, but everyone struggles with it at some point. So something that's definitely helps me is to just talk to people that you know and you're comfortable with about it, because bubbling up all of your stress and burnout inside is definitely not good for you, and it will kind of explode at one point, which is kind of what happened to me. So talking to friends that may be in the same position, or your parents, or a therapist, or your sibling, like literally anyone that you can talk to, it's just really nice to talk about it with someone else. And if you ever feel that you're overly stressed or you're just having a lot of burnout, definitely make sure to like check in with yourself and like realize that that's what's happening, and figure out how you can kind of incorporate self-care and just time to reflect on yourself, because your mental health and how you are is much more important than a homework assignment that's due the next day, or just getting everything done that you might need to get done. Like sometimes all you need is a break, and I think that is something that a lot of us struggle to realize, that it's okay to take breaks. Like you don't need to be on it every single time of the day. So just making sure to take breaks and just doing things that make you feel good. Try to incorporate that at least like once a week, I would say, or a few times a week. We're gonna move on to the next topic, which is friends. And the main thing that got asked in relation to friends is the best advice for making friends in school. I know for incoming freshmen this can be hard sometimes if you're like transferring from different middle schools or you just moved. Whatever it may be, making friends in high school can definitely be difficult and scary at the same time. And I feel like this advice really like sticks with me, because when I went to high school, I barely had any friends. I went to a different high school than what all of my middle school people went to, so I definitely did not go into high school with a lot of friends. I went into high school with like 1 or 2. So I have a few tips for making friends, and my first tip is to just talk to the people you sit next to in your classes. And honestly, just do this in general, whether you're trying to make friends or not. Like, talking to people and making like friendly connections with people is very important for high school because you never know who you're gonna cross paths with in the future. And that's honestly how I made most of my friendships, is just talking to people in class and also being friendly to like their friends and like creating mutuals with other people. And to go along with that question, I got a question of like conversation starters when you're going to talk to people. Simply asking like what class they have next or how their day's going, especially if this is like on the first day or first week of school. I feel like a lot of people can agree asking someone what their next class is or like what classes they just had or have in their schedule is a great way to start conversation with people. Or like I said, asking how their day has been. Another good way that I've used is to compliment something about them, whether that be the shoes or their jewelry or their stationery. Like, just finding something to compliment about them not only gets a conversation kind of started, but also can make them feel really good. So those are just a few ways to start conversations and make friends. What's better, having a lot of friends or having a few close friends? This definitely depends on you and like the people you're friends with and just your preferences of like how you like to handle your friendships. For me personally, I like to have a few close friends that like I can really rely on and are just always there for me and I love and I trust. But at the same time, I like to try to be friends with as many people as I can. And being friends doesn't always mean you have to sit at lunch with them every day or you have to hang out with them a lot or talk to them a lot. So I can't really give like a direct answer to this question. From personal experience, I've noticed that the friend groups that are really, really big tend to have a lot of little cliques and then a lot of negativity, like everyone's talking about each other yet they're friends at the same time. So for me personally, with my central like friend group that I hang out with and I sit at lunch and all that stuff, I like to keep it to fewer rather than a lot. But like I said, that's all personal preference. How to stay out of drama. Everyone has been in a friendship drama at some point in their life, whether that be elementary school, middle school, high school, college. Like, it happens to everyone. And having like occasional disagreements and arguments is actually healthy for friendships and like relationships. Obviously, having them a lot or having more extreme fights and like arguments is not the best, but having them every once in a while is normal. But when it comes to high school and like even middle school drama, I know it can be very negative and just very annoying to deal with. So what I would say for staying out of drama is, for one, if you hear about drama, like if someone tells you, oh, this person said something about this person or like something like that, do your best and stay out of it. Like, don't spread it. Obviously, that's probably the worst thing you can do, but don't engage in it as well. Don't feed more information to that person or to other people. I know it's really hard to ignore drama, but I feel like drama escalates really quickly, especially with miscommunications, which is another thing. Don't figure out your drama over text. That is probably the worst thing you can do, especially because everyone reads text and sends text differently. So if you're trying to like handle drama, the best way is to just do it face to face or over the phone, like talking, rather than texting. And also, if you're ever dealing with drama, just kind of remember and like think to yourself that this is very, very insignificant drama. Like, this isn't gonna carry with you all the way through high school, all the way through college and adulthood. Like, this is high school drama. It's not that serious. But I just wanted to say, if you ever are in drama where it does get serious, such as like bullying or anything like that, reach out to someone that you trust, whether it's happening to you or someone you know, because you don't want that to escalate and get to more extreme measures. So if it's clearly something that's very insignificant, ignore it. Don't get involved. My next section of questions are related to classes and like the high school campus setting. The first question is, how do I choose what classes I want to take? And if you're like an incoming freshman, I would say there's less of like a variety of classes you can choose because most of them are just like your required classes for the credits you need. But definitely as you get more into like your junior and senior years, when there's so many more class options, I would just say try to pick classes that you know you're interested in and that you know you can succeed in. This includes like different levels of classes such as honors, AP, regular, all that kind of stuff. You know yourself better than anyone else, so try to reflect on classes you've previously taken and also reflect on everything that you're putting yourself through for this upcoming school year and think about if you're going to be able to handle everything. Are honors and AP classes hard, and do they have a lot of work, and are they worth it? This question I feel like really depends on who you are as a person and your personal progress with like school and academics. Honors and AP classes are obviously the accelerated, harder courses. So yes, they are harder and they are a little bit more fast paced, but obviously it depends on you. But naturally, I would say all honors and AP classes are challenging no matter how smart you are. There's always going to be new topics or new things or even like time management and like workload that will make the class challenging for you. So with the question that says, do they have a lot of homework? I would say it depends on the class. Some AP classes actually don't have a lot of homework, but you'd still have to put a lot of work into the class, if that makes any sense. I know for sure sure if you're taking like an AP history course such as AP Euro, AP World, AP US History. There's definitely a lot of notes that you have to do from the textbook at home. And the last part of this question are they worth it? I would say they are, because if you pass the AP exam with a certain score, that can usually count as credits for college, so then you don't have to take those classes again, which can not only save you time but also money. But at the same time, if you're just taking the accelerated classes to say that you're in those classes for like college applications or to try to get the college credit, but they're just not right for you, it's going to be a struggle, and I just don't think it's worth it at that point. How do you know what supplies to buy for high school? This is something that I definitely wondered when I was going into high school, and obviously you don't get like school supplies lists for high school. In high school, you really just pick what supplies you want for each class. I will say on the first day of school, for most high schools, teachers will give you a syllabus for like their class that has like a suggested materials section, so you can use that as like a guide of things to buy. But my overall guide for like high school school supplies would be one notebook for each class and one folder. Obviously you're gonna need your basic like pencils, pens, highlighters, stuff like that. What should I put in an essential / emergency kit? I actually have mine right here. I have my backpack sitting right next to me. Chapstick, hand sanitizer, tissues, oil blotting sheets, a brush, and this brush is super cool. I got it from Amazon. It literally just like pushes out like this, so now it's a normal brush, and it also has a little mirror on the top so you can do like makeup touch-ups, feminine products such as pads, tampons, liners, and then I like to keep a few extra dollars. Like I think I have 3 $1 bills in here. How to be more involved with school. I think being involved with school when you're in high school is one of the best things you can do for yourself, just because it makes things so much easier and like more fun, and you really get like the high school experience. And so the first thing I would recommend is joining clubs and or sports that really fit with like your interests. Not only do you get to do things that you're interested in with these clubs and sports, but you also get to meet new people that are also interested in it, so you can make friends, and it also just gives you things to do outside of like your regular school classes. Another thing I would recommend is to go to as many school events as you can, such as sports games, dances, pep rallies, and stuff like that. School events are so much fun to go to. They really help you connect with like your school's campus and like other people at your school, and also other people in other grades. So if your school is like mine and you have like football games in the fall, you have homecoming, winter formal, prom, all that kind of stuff, try to go to as many of those as you can. They are so much fun. Definitely worth the money if you have to pay, which for my school you do. You just get to make so many great memories there, and I just feel like they make the school year so much more fun. The last question of this category I got so much, and it is how to fit in and be more confident. Honestly, it's kind of sad seeing this question because it shows that so many people are concerned with like fitting in, being popular, and like looking good for other people, which obviously sometimes, you know, everyone's concerned in that, and that can be something good to think about, but you really do not need to worry about fitting in for high school. Like there's not really anything you need to fit into, if that makes sense, because everyone is unique in their own way. Trying to be like the popular people at your school or just trying to like fit in is not worth your time and energy. Like obviously if you find fashion inspiration or just inspiration from other people, that's different. And for the being more confident section, I would say, going along with what I was saying before, be yourself and don't let thoughts of other people affect you, if that makes any sense. Like don't worry about what other people are thinking about like what you wear or what school supplies you have or what you do to your hair. Like just do what you want to do, because obviously doing things that makes you feel good and like wearing things that you like, all of those things help you be more confident. The last section of this video are like personal questions. These are just questions that you guys ask me that are more personal to like me, so it's not really tips for like the general public, it's more my experiences. So the first question is, what is your favorite thing about high school so far? Honestly, this is really hard because I feel like there's so many things that I have loved about high school so far, but I would definitely say one of my favorite things about high school has just been all of the different opportunities you get. This includes friendships, classes, work, clubs, sports, like all of the opportunities that you get in high school I feel like are just so unique and kind of help shape you as a person. What classes are you taking this year? This year I am a junior in high school and I'm only taking 5 classes, which I'm super happy about. I have 1 free period, but the classes that I'm taking this year are Honors Pre-Calc, AP US History, Yearbook, AP Physics 1, and AP Lang. Do you have any college updates? This question, I don't love college questions right now just because I don't want to think about it. Since I'm a junior in high school, obviously now I have to start considering college applications, SAT, ACT, all that kind of stuff. Obviously I know I need to like actually start thinking about it, but honestly I don't think I really have any college updates. I'm not the type of person to be set on one school, like I have to get into this college. I'm very open. I definitely want to go to a UC college, which is the University of California colleges. One thing you've overcome / learned from being in high school so far. The main main thing that I've gotten from high school is just time management and like balancing everything. I feel like high school is the first part of your life where you're really learning how to be independent and just manage your school, your friends, your personal life, your work, and like all that kind of stuff. And also your driving, which is like crazy. But I do believe those are all of the questions for today's video. If you guys have any other questions that I didn't answer in this video, feel free to comment them down below and I will do my best to go answer your question in the comments. I hope you all have a great school year this year, whether you're in middle school, high school, college, whatever you're doing in life. I hope you have a great year. Remember, you are not alone. We are in this together. And I do want to thank Notion again for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to go check them out and my custom template in my description down below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell down below to be notified whenever I post. As of right now, when I'm filming this video, I'm kind of debating on my posting schedule, whether I want to keep it to a video every Monday or if I just want to get rid of my posting schedule to make it more flexible for me. But you guys will definitely see more updates in other videos and my community tab on my posting schedule. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!